Hey dancers, welcome back to Twin Talks Ballet. My name is Kirsten. Today I'm going to address 3 problems that you probably have in your mindset as a dancer that are stopping you from improving in your technique. We all know that, or we say, ballet is just as mental as it is physical. But like honestly, when's the last time you actually addressed your mindset and did something about it in order to improve in your technique in the ways you've been wanting to improve? So few of us give our mindset the time of day and attention that it deserves. Today I want to help you change that by starting with acknowledging 3 really common blocks that I see dancers experiencing in their mindset that is honestly blocking their physical performance. So let's address those blocks, and if you are ready to get rid of them and start seeing improvement in your technique, then keep on watching. And of course, gotta start this video with saying, give this video a thumbs up if you appreciate it, if you have benefited from it, and you want the algorithm to send more videos like this to your subscription or your homepage or whatever. It's also going to send it out to other dancers who would love to be encouraged and helped by this message. So do some community service, give it a thumbs up. So the first problem that you probably have with your mindset is that you are choosing to have a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset. Growth mindset is a term that's been coined by Dweck. She has a famous TED Talk that I'll link down below. She also has a book related to her research around what she calls the growth mindset. And I found this to be tremendously insightful and interesting. Essentially, having a fixed mindset is like taking a snapshot in time of your abilities and the problems you see, and you basically form beliefs or decisions that affect you for a long time after that about your abilities based off of what you see in the moment. So an example of a fixed mindset is, this example is probably going to be humbling for me. I was 12 years old when I was able to do a double pirouette for the first time. Yes, there is hope. There is hope. Let's just go with this. You're 12 years old, you're in the studio, and your teacher is like, okay, class, let's try our double pirouettes. Let's just go for it. And you start to try it. You fall a couple times, but you see a few other of your classmates getting it, and they're excited, and the teacher says, good. And in that moment, you feel really vulnerable. Maybe you feel embarrassed. And out of that feeling of embarrassment, maybe inadequacy, you decide in that moment, oh, I'm just not good at turns. I'm just not a good turner. Especially if the teacher says things like, oh, Cindy over there, good, you're a natural turner. And so then maybe in your little mind, you're like, oh, so some people are just natural at it and others just aren't, and that's just how it is. So in that moment, boom, all of a sudden you label yourself as not a good turner. That is a perfect example of what it looks like to form a fixed mindset. One that just decides for the rest of eternity, you're just not good at this. That affects your approach. Obviously, if you don't believe you're going to be good at something, you're not going to take the action to change it. You might like give some half-hearted attempts like, oh, I tried. But like if you don't actually admit to that belief and work to change it, your best attempts are only going to be halfway at best. So a growth mindset, conversely, is one that looks at the progression, your progress as more of a movie rather than a snapshot, a still shot. So in that example of being 12 and trying your double pirouettes for the first time, a growth mindset would look like saying, oh, okay, I just haven't figured out how to do a double pirouette yet. What can I try differently in order to make that happen? What do I need to learn in order to do as well as what my classmates are doing? So it is a mindset of resourcefulness that comes from an assumption that nothing is fixed. If you want to be better at something, you can be better at it. So instead of arriving at this fixed assumption that it just is how it is, you're never going to be good at it, this just isn't the kind of dancer you are, you'll just never have good feet, you'll never be good at adagio, because of maybe one or a handful of examples where you kind of just hadn't figured it out yet, then you're going to be blocked. You're not going to take that action. Growth mindset is one that looks at things as a progression and asks questions and taps into resourcefulness in exploring, okay, what skills do I need to gain? What can I do in order to get better? Because you assume that you can. nothing is fixed. Hey friends, I want to briefly pause this video to thank our generous sponsor of today's video and many others on this channel, which is balletok.com. I'm so grateful for their ongoing support, and I want to let you know how you can support the sponsor that keeps this channel going so that I can continue to provide free content for you dancers out there. The way you can support them is by buying Zerly tights through the balletok.com website. I personally love Zerly tights. They are truly my favorite brand. They're soft, they're sleek, they're flattering, they're durable, and I love that the compression technology in these tights is truly unmatched by any other brand, and it genuinely makes a difference in how fast your legs recover between ballet classes. I notice a difference not only as I dance in these tights, but when I teach, when I'm standing around a lot in the studio. I do notice that my legs feel better when I wear my Zerly tights. So go check out Zerly tights through balletok.com, and additionally you can participate in balletok.com's tights recycling program, which I have recently done. All you have to do is go to their website, email them info@balletok.com, and ask for a free shipping label. They'll send it to you, put your tights in the mail, and what you get in return is a discount on your future orders of Zerly tights through balletok.com. Speaking of discounts, I have a discount code for you down below in the description. So what are you waiting for? Go try these tights. You will not regret it. And thank you again, balletok.com, for sponsoring this video. The second problem with your mindset that's probably blocking your technical improvement is you've been making limiting decisions in order to soothe your pride. This is tied in with that idea of having a fixed mindset, but it goes a layer deeper into addressing the emotions of why it is so tempting to choose that fixed mindset. Essentially, like in that example I gave of the little 12-year-old, and you try a double pirouette, you're embarrassed. So instead of holding space for that vulnerability of not yet being as good at something as you want to be, or not yet getting the validation from your teacher, or whatever matters to you in that point in time. So instead of that, it's so much easier to want to put away that feeling. Like, gosh, dancers, we're so afraid of our feelings. If you just weren't afraid of your feelings, I'm preaching to myself too, there is so much growth that would be available to you. So when you make a decision like, I'm just not good at pirouettes, it's often in order to soothe your pride that is hurting. This is why humility is such a fantastic tool for growth. Humility says, I don't need to be great. I don't need to be perfect. I can show my growth process. People can look at it. It doesn't matter. That's fine. We're all growing. Humility is the ability to look at yourself as you are, and to not label it as just bad, or to even see what you're good at. Humility, it's just simply, again, the ability to look at yourself as you are. And that does take vulnerability. So in these moments, if you feel embarrassed and you want to hide because you see a flaw in the mirror and you really hope no one sees it, notice that there might be a temptation to label yourself as just not being good at something, just not, being something that you want to be, in order to soothe your pride. Instead of saying, it kind of hurts to admit, but yeah, I'm not where I want to be in my progress in this area of my technique, but I can do something about it. And so I'm going to look at my technique for what it is, and I'm going to be okay with it, and I'm going to accept it. I'm not going to hate myself or judge myself for it, but I am going to stick with myself and keep pushing forward. I'm going to get creative and say, I'm not here yet, but I can be, and I will care enough to keep going in that progress, instead of being like, oh man, my pride hurts. I'm just going to say I'm not good at something and then tell other people, look, I'm not good at this, or ooh, yeah, I'm not a good dancer, so that others know that, don't worry, they don't have to judge you because you've judged yourself first. That is a huge, huge block to your personal improvement. It doesn't help you, and it certainly doesn't create a helpful environment for your peers either. So please don't do that. And the third problem that you might have with your mindset, which is blocking your improvement in your technique, is that you might be focusing so much on fixing your mistakes rather than feeling and creating beauty through your dancing. This is not your fault necessarily. The way ballet training is formulated and executed is that so many teachers from a young age tell you, don't sickle your foot, don't do this, this is bad, this is wrong. You know, like all these X's, like don't, bad, bad, bad. And that trains you on a subconscious level to look for what is wrong with your technique and to fix it in order to be a good dancer. But when you think about it, that's honestly such a backwards approach. Of course, the human brain needs contrast in order to understand a concept. We need to know what something isn't in order to clearly define what it is, oftentimes. So if you are teaching what a good tendu looks like, a good shape of the foot, and you say, okay, it looks like this. The toes are pointed, the ankle is also pointed, the foot is elongated, it's kind of shaped and kind of wrung out a little bit, depending on your school of thought. In order to teach it well, a teacher then might say, then, oh, you don't sickle, that's bad, or you don't wing too much, or you don't flex it. But then so often teachers for years will give corrections that don't remind the student of what they should be doing, rather that they're doing something wrong. Don't sickle that foot, Cindy. Don't, your feet are flexed, you know, you're weighing too much. Instead of shape that foot, you know, create a long line from the top of your leg through the ends of your toes. Feel energy in your toes. Sensory, positively cued language. So few teachers use this. Rant over about that. So it's not necessarily your fault that you might have been programmed from a young age to look at what is wrong with your technique and to want to fix that in order to be a good dancer. But will you truly ever be a great dancer if you've trained your mind to constantly fixate on what is wrong? Is greatness made from no mistakes? No, it's made from acknowledging what is beautiful, what is strong, what is admirable, what is great, and then enhancing that, showing it, having joy in sharing that with other people, showing it off. That's where greatness comes from as a dancer and as a person, you know, focusing on what is good and sharing more of that. It's also the building blocks for being satisfied and joyful in your dancing. If you've allowed your mind to be trained and to stay this way and just fixing mistakes as if that's what's going to make you great, you've trained your mind to look in the mirror for what is wrong, and that creates a lot of negative emotions towards your own capabilities as a dancer. That's a huge block to your confidence. Also, it blinds you to what your actual strengths are. And at a certain point, yes, it is important to work on your weaknesses as a dancer, but you have to sometimes just acknowledge that the weaknesses, you're always working on them. They are getting better, but you have to start intentionally looking for what is good. What is beautiful? What beauty do I want to create with my dancing? What natural talents do I have that I want to enhance? Or how can I make my weaknesses my strength through some creativity and through some care and some adaptation in your mindset? So focus on what is beautiful, what is strong, what can become more beautiful and strong, rather than always what is wrong, because that will blind you to your uniqueness and it will make you miserable. And it will prevent you from focusing on what will actually make you a beautiful artist. And it's a breeding ground for insecurities that make you miserable. So stop doing that. Lastly, it's just, I have to add, so interesting that so many people want to be great dancers, but with their approach, they're really trying to just not be bad dancers. You can't have a goal to just not be bad, not be something. What do you want to actually be? People are not inspired by how many flaws you've been able to successfully hide. They're inspired by what energy you give in your performance, what individuality you bring to your performance. They're not interested in what flaws you've been able to successfully cover. That doesn't make you beautiful. So you guys, I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I've definitely enjoyed making it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Share this with your friends, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.